We had a meeting yesterday to discuss the emerging crisis of El-Nino, and we decided to have this press brief today pursuant to the resolutions that we made yesterday. So I'll read a brief statement on behalf of including Tana River. So press statement, Northeastern Parliamentary Group. The Northeastern Parliamentary Group demands urgent action, urgent government attention and action in the wake of the El-Nino floods. We, the members of the Northeastern Parliamentary Group, have convened an emergency session today to address the escalating humanitarian crisis caused by the devastating effects of the ongoing El-Nino rains in the region that continue to wreak havoc and inflict pain on the communities across the wider region. The growing impact came after the first region started receiving El-Nino rains earlier than most part of the country, experiencing the same, making it the worst hit area as the longest in suffering the El-Nino effects. It is therefore noted that our people are bearing the painful brunt in this unprecedented crisis as the region grapples with the severe impact of the ongoing floods that is experienced immediately after the long season of drought and famine. You are aware that recently, just a few months ago, we've had serious drought in that particular region. The relentless rains have resulted in massive destruction of critical infrastructures. You have seen what happened to the main road between Garissa and Mwingi, displacement of communities and looming humanitarian crisis that demands the immediate attention and action by the government. All major towns and villages have been marooned by the floods, making the expansive region completely cut off from the rest of the country after vital entry roads being unprecedentedly swept off at Medogash, Kutulo, and most recently yesterday, that is the Tula Bridge that links Garissa to Nairobi, suffering similar fate and rendering the whole region conspicuously inaccessible by road. To make matter worse, apart from Wajir Airport, almost all airstrips in the 3 counties are completely not usable. None of them actually is functional and completely shut down due to the intensity of the floods. The prevailing situation grants airdrops as the only way to avail food to the displaced flood victims, though this Red Cross that has been engaged in this doesn't have the capacity, and therefore we are appealing to the Kenya Defense Forces and UN agencies like the World Food Program to chip in. So far, thousands of families have been displaced by the raging waters, with the irritating situation forcing people to seek alternative shelters in makeshift structures on high grounds. The same scenario has seen thousands of livestock that have survived the long droughts being swept away, denting serious damage to the livelihood of most of the residents of these particular areas. The pervasive preference of the waters has characteristically transformed the region to a potential soft spot, breeding ground, and a home for waterborne diseases and vector-borne diseases, including cholera and malaria. Most of the health facilities are non-functional, and therefore provisional medical service right now is completely out of reach of most of the people. In painting the grim picture of the situation, the scary reality remains that the 3 counties of Wajir, the 4 counties of Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, and Tana River is staring at starvation if quick action and contingency measures are not executed, especially with the underlying deplorable state of infrastructure to support the delivery of food relief and other supplies to the victims. More disturbing reports from the ground have raised the red flags on increased food shortages and lack of adequate shelter to the affected families, the most vulnerable being women, children, and the elderly. With military precision in tightening up all loose ends to arrest the crisis. Therefore, the situation calls for immediate action and comprehensive intervention to alleviate the suffering of the affected population. It remains painful and more disturbing that despite the quantum and the magnitude of the calamity, all our individual and collective efforts to seek the attention of those who are in charge has generally remained unattended to. We therefore continue to call on the government to swiftly design all applicable mechanisms needed as a matter of priority to avert loss of lives and mitigate the long-term effects of this humanitarian crisis. As a matter of extreme urgency, we implore the government to act on the following strategies. First, declare the El-Nino rains and floods as a national disaster. To date, what we have been seeing is just lip service. We are yet to see any meaningful, well-collaborated, well-coordinated action from the government. And therefore, this remains our unified call for the government action to incorporate the support of all relevant strategic players to upscale capacity and improve coordination among state agencies, non-governmental organizations, the donor community, and the wider Kenyan public. Two, we are also asking the government to immediately deploy emergency relief, to avail emergency relief. The government to urgently expedite the deployment of emergency relief supplies, including food, clean water, medical aid, and shelter to the affected families. Three, evacuation and temporary shelters. Since most areas are flooded, we're asking the government to assist in measures to evacuate the vulnerable population to safer locations. Four, infrastructure and rehabilitation. We call upon the government to allocate resources as a matter of urgency to rehabilitate the damaged infrastructure, including roads, the bridges, the health centers, schools, to enhance the flow of the necessary assistance to the people in that particular region. Five, public health measures to prevent the outbreak of waterborne diseases and other vector-related diseases. We urge the government to provide adequate medical facilities to the affected towns and villages. Six, community support and resettlement. We are also asking the government to provide urgent assistance for the households to rebuild their lives, including financial assistance, livelihood support, and plan for sustainable resettlement. And seven, we need the government to decisively act in order to save lives and the properties of these communities.
Honorable Kenan has put everything in perspective. We all know that this El-Nino has been with us for the last 3 weeks. And unfortunately, the actions by the government has been wanting. We are staring at a situation whereby the residents of Northeastern and also parts of Northern Kenya will starve to death because of lack of food. I compare this to a situation that is happening internationally. You have seen trucks of food at River crossing. They can't reach Gaza. This is what's happening now in Northeastern. Trucks cannot reach the people of Northeastern, and that now will lead to starvation. The near non-existent infrastructure in terms of roads have been swept. We don't have roads in the first place, so the ones that look like roads have been swept. We don't have bridges, and the government is unable to declare this as a national disaster. Now, we, the leadership, actually want to declare that there's a national disaster on behalf of the government because they have failed to do so. So with this, we are appealing to the international community, especially UN organizations like World Food Program, to step in and cap in. We can't wait for government to declare when people are going to die. Health facilities have closed long time ago because there are no drugs. They can't reach. Last night there was issue of KEMSA saying we are procuring ABCD. How can they reach the people of Northeastern Northern Kenya? So as we speak for the people of Northeastern and Northern Kenya, today we declare that there is a national disaster in terms of El-Nino. So we ask the international community please to step in. We have seen our deputy president visiting other places. He has not stepped in or visited Northeastern just to see what the situation is. We ask him also, because he's the one coordinating on behalf of the Kenya government, to go and visit those places so they can get first-hand experience. The people are going to die. And then we're going to now come back and say, oh, what have you done? So we implore the people. And also the media. You're not covering also as much as you're covering in other places. You're also neglecting Northeastern people. You are covering places where there are roads, there are bridges, so many things. Northeastern, there are no bridges, no roads. Nothing can reach. You're also covering also in just in urban areas. Please go also and cover how the people are suffering on the ground. So you can depict and tell the Kenyan people, the Kenyan government and the world what is happening so we can get help. The county governments are trying their best. This is not the scope and the mandate of the county government. They cannot cope, they can't do it. We want the national government to assist. They are given 15%. We are looking for the 85% of the national budget. Where is it? So we also don't want to blush or blast the county governments who have only 15%. Where is the 85% that is supposed to also help the people of Northeastern Northern Kenya?